Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So since summer's come around the corner this week, I thought I would do my summer book recommendations. So let's get started. So my first recommendation for summer is the Summer I Turned Pretty series. So this is talked about all the time. It's a TV show now, so you hear about it everywhere. I'm sure you've probably read it or watched it. But if you haven't read it, even if you have watched it, you should read the books. They are better. I mean, everyone always says that, but this show is very, very different from the books. I feel some of the main scenes are kind of the same, or like the way that they have the couples are very similar, but a lot of the other stuff and like all their family situations are actually very different in the show than they are in the books, and I prefer the way they're done in the books, so I really would recommend you read these. Another reason they're just perfect for summer is not only that, they're set in summer, most of them, is just they're so like short and sweet. They're easy reads. They're so quick. They're easy to get into. They're super fast paced. But it's like reading all three of these is reading one like fantasy book pretty much. So super easy to get through, really quick, really fast paced, and they're just fun. And they're set in the summer, so it kind of just gets you in that vibe. Next, I have We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This is a mystery thriller. Again, super short and sweet. Such a quick read. I read this in probably an hour and a half. I don't want to show you, like, spoil anything, but, like, the writing is really big and very, like, spread out on the pages. So, not every page, most pages aren't even a full page, actually, so it's just super short. Really easy to get into, I feel like. It was for me anyway. This was one of my first kind of mysteries I've ever read. And I really enjoyed it. I did not expect the plot twist that happened at all. And I don't know, again, it's set in the summer, so it has that fun summer setting. Next I have The Summer Broken Rose by K.L. Walther. I read this book, I think I read it kind of late in the year last year. I don't think it was that early on. I don't think it was summer when I read this either, but it might have been. It's so fun. It's set in like Martha's Vineyard, so that's such a fun setting to have. And it's young adult. All of them that I mentioned so far are young adult. This one's a little bit longer than the other two, but I still felt like it was a fast read. And I believe it's still on Kindle Unlimited, which I read faster on my Kindle, so if you do too, it's even a quicker read that way. Yeah, but this is about a girl named Meredith. She had just lost her sister, and her family usually go on these vacations every summer to Martha's Vineyard with like their entire family and friends and stuff, and they hadn't gone, I think, for maybe a couple years. And so they decided to go again without her sister this year, and she meets this guy, and you kind of just see them just really bond, and then some secrets spill, which is also a twist I wasn't expecting either, but it's just a romance. And the whole thing is like they're playing a game of assassin, so that's also like even more fun to kind of watch that happen too, because you're seeing people team up and try to find where everyone is, and it's just such a fun setting. And it like goes deeper, with grief and loss, and we get a deeper meaning and story to it, but it's also just fun and lighthearted too. So you don't get too sad, but it also isn't just like, I don't know, a surface level romance story either. I have It Happened One Summer and Hook, Line, and Sinker. I read these pretty early on into my reading kind of journey, I guess. I think these are so fun. They're set in a small town in Washington, I believe. So they're a duology. This is the first one. This one is with Piper and Brendan. So Piper is this kind of like socialite. I don't think she's an actress. Yeah, I think she's just kind of a socialite. And so she has this reputation for being wild and crazy, and she does something, and her family's like, okay, you've pushed our line a little too far here. So they send her to this small town in Washington, and her and her sister to this small town in Washington where their father is originally from. So their father has passed away. But he is from this small town, so they sent her and her sister here to kind of get her under control, but then she can also still learn a little bit about her family. And she meets this fisherman named Brendan. I think he's a captain of his boat. Yes, he's a captain of a boat and for a fishing boat in this small town. And it's very much grumpy sunshine. Like, um, Piper's very bright and happy and fun, and he's more grumpy, I don't want to do anything kind of guy. But seeing him, fall in love with her and her fall in love with him, it's just such a sweet story. And they're and you just really see her kind of flip, and this whole time she's like, just I want to go back to LA, like I'm done here, this is boring, I want to party. And you see her personality like really change, and she really starts to love this small town, which I think is so fun too. And you do also learn more about their father in this too. You get that kind of aspect, and I think it's really fun actually to kind of learn about her family history. The second book in the duology is Hook, Line, and Sinker. This one was personally my favorite. This one is about Hannah and Fox. So Hannah is Piper's younger sister, and then Fox is Brendan's best friend. So Fox is also on the fishing boat with him. And in the first book, it happened one summer, you'd see Hannah and Fox kind of bicker and maybe flirt a little bit, is kind of what it seemed like. But nothing ever happened. And so Hannah eventually ends up going back to LA at the end of her stay that she was supposed to have there. And she keeps in contact with Fox, and she's working on a set of a movie, I believe. And she decides to bring up this small town in Washington to film this movie at, because she thought it was the perfect setting. So they go and they start filming this movie in Washington. So she starts talking to Fox again, and you see their relationship really start to grow. And it very much starts where it left off. And it happened one summer, like they start off that flirty friend again. But you kind of see them take off from there, and their bond really grow, and she learns so much more about herself. And, he learns that he isn't just, he's more of the wild child in this, and she's more of the responsible adult. But he learns he can be more than that, and then she learns that she can also have fun. And so their love story, and then them just really teaching each other more about each other's lives, is just also really fun. And then last but not least, we have Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is one of my all-time favorite books I've ever read. This isn't necessarily set in the summer, but it's about tennis. Carrie Soto is this world-renowned tennis player, and she breaks a bunch of records. I think she even gets #1 tennis player for girls in the world or something too. And so she eventually retires, and she had bad injuries and stuff, and someone comes in threatening to break her records. And so I think it's 10 years later. It's a lot later in her life, after she's been retired. And she decides to come back from retirement to try to beat her own record so this girl can't beat hers. So you see her whole story kind of from the start of her tennis career into where she got to her place. And then you see her comeback, her coming out of retirement and trying to break this girl's record. And I don't know, the tennis is just so fun in this. You learn so much about tennis. Like, it is very sport heavy. You learn so many of the rules in the game, but it's not boring. It's really fun actually, and I really enjoyed learning about it. And they do not make it a boring thing to learn, but you see her relationship with her father, her other coaches, you see just how she treats her life and her goals, and she's very, headstrong. Like, this is what she wants to do. She wants to be the best girls tennis player in the world, and that's that. You're not going to stop her. And you kind of see how that affects all of the relationships in her life, and just her and her father's relationship, and how it starts off very strong but ends up a little bit rocky. And you see how that kind of happened, and how maybe we come back from that. And then there is a little bit of romance when she goes to her comeback. She meets a guy, and so you see how she is with him and kind of his life, and how he is with her. And, he teaches her a lot and she teaches him a lot. And it's a very interesting, perspective on both of the lives, and how someone dedicates their entire life to tennis, and that's the only thing in the world they care about. How someone else loves it, just as much, but still also has time for other life. And I don't know, it's a really interesting story. It's very heartfelt, very emotional. I don't know. I feel like I really related to Carrie at the time I was reading this. I mean, I still do, but I very much had the same thoughts she had, and this kind of, I don't know, it helped a little bit to realize you don't have to do the best at everything you do, and that's okay. It's okay just to be good. But I really, really love this book. And again, I don't know if it's like set in the summer. I think probably the tennis, um, all those matches happen kind of in the summer. But it's so fun, and it really makes you want to pick up a tennis racket and become a tennis player, like so badly. Like I just want to play tennis all the time now. So I highly, highly recommend this one. That was it for today's video. Those were all my summer recommendations. Um, they're kind of popular, unfortunately. I wish I had more like under the radar books to pick from. But a lot of people hold off on some popular books like I had. Just, the hype gets a little too much. You're like, I don't want to ruin the story for myself. So if you haven't picked these up, please do, because I do think these ones are worth the hype that they get. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Again, any other video ideas you would love to see in the future. And bye, guys.